Hi, I'm Gregory Irons, the only professional wrestler with cerebral palsy, and I imagine I'm the only backstage interviewer with cerebral palsy for Top Tier Wrestling. And today, as we do Backstage with Blackfly, I'm sitting with a guy that I've known for a long time now, and in a lot of ways for me, an inspiration based on what he's experienced and gone through. Ladies and gentlemen, Crazzy Steve.
And I'd just like to start off by saying, I am the only professional wrestler currently sitting in this blue chair who's legally blind.
How many other blind wrestlers do you know?
Personally, none. But I know I'm not the only one. There's been plenty of others who have had eye issues. Not just wrestlers, but referees too.
Okay.
Like Stan Hansen, for instance. He's legendary, known for having terrible eyesight and just throwing that lariat at people.
Sure.
A couple referees I've run into that have had some pretty bad eyesight as well. But as far as like actual pro wrestler, I have not been in the ring with one, and I haven't personally met them.
Have you ever gotten messages from any blind wrestlers or anything? And I'll say this because there have been other wrestlers with cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. I say I'm the only wrestler with cerebral palsy because it's good marketing. Sure. There were guys before me, but in some cases, there's different levels of cerebral palsy, and there's been awkward situations where I've seen guys with cerebral palsy where I'm like, it does not look realistic. It was awkward for me as a guy with cerebral palsy. So have you ever experienced talking with or seeing someone that was blind where you're like, oh no, this is kind of dangerous actually?
Pardon me. I can't say as though I have. I have come in contact with people who have messaged me online, who have followed my story and have considered it an inspiration or have chosen to get into the wrestling business. And I've coached some kids who have got into the wrestling business who have had poor vision like myself. But there's different variations of that. So I'm very cautious when I give advice, and I try and explain to them listen, what I can or can't see is likely going to be far different than what you can or can't see. So far be it for me to compare us together, in the hopes that I don't give them some sort of advice that would put them in danger or put anybody else in danger in the ring with them. So I always just I kind of preference it with saying yes, this is my vision. These are my limitations. But if I felt like I was putting myself in danger, or if I felt even the slightest bit that I was putting the person I'm working with in danger, then I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I love professional wrestling. I'm obsessed with it. But the safety of myself and the safety of the person that I'm working with comes first. And so I would happily put that aside if that was the case.
Now, sometimes people ask me, what's it like wrestling with one hand?
Yeah.
And my response is, well, I don't know. I've never wrestled with two. Of course, I'm not going to ask you the question, what's it like wrestling blind? But you're pretty self-aware. How do you see wrestling different than others? What was hard for you to grasp at first that you had to work around with knowing that you had this vision impairment, right?
So I don't know if it's something that I have to work around, but I'll tell you something that gave me a benefit to not being able to see is the idea that when I'm in the ring, I can't see the people. So that might sound odd to you guys just hearing that, but for a lot of people, especially when they first start wrestling, being in front of that many people or just being the center of attention can be uncomfortable for them at first. If they haven't found their way or they haven't found their character, whatever, it can be very uncomfortable. For me, I don't find it to be uncomfortable at all because I can't see you anyway. Granted, I want everyone to make noise. I want everyone to have a good time and stuff like that. But if my job is simply to be weird and creep you out, if I'm creeping you out, you're not necessarily cheering or booing. You're just kind of creeped out.
Sure.
And so it's where it benefits me is I guess I have to rely on my other senses of feeling and hearing as well. Hearing the audience, listening to what they're projecting and trying to feel what they're feeling as well. A perfect example of this would be when I first got a tryout match with TNA in 2014. It was not like you have it nowadays where it's in front of a crowd and they're testing the cameras. Cameras were off. It was just the head honchos in the building and some of the guys who wanted to be there to watch it. So it's a very intimate, very, very intimate atmosphere with no adrenaline going, no nothing going. So that can be very, very awkward for a lot of people, especially when they're wrestling in front of what could potentially be their bosses. Whereas for me, I couldn't see anybody who was watching anyway. So I just zoned in and got into character and wrestled like I would normally wrestle.
Yeah. What was the biggest inspirations for your character?
A lot of things. Art in general. The music I listened to, I was in high school, was very much like Marilyn Manson, Slipknot, Rob Zombie.
Same.
Very much character-based performers. And then wrestling, wrestling itself just encapsulated me and my imagination. But as I grew older, I found myself liking the darker characters more, like a Raven or Undertaker, Mankind, Kane. Those sorts of characters really, really stuck out to me, and I think it's based off of my love for comic books and my love for horror movies and hard metal music and stuff like that. All that combined into one, and just being an angry teenager as well, having some sort of edge to me, or what I thought was like an edge, now, and it helped me. It helped me stand out. I think for a lot of people, when they first get into pro wrestling, it's either they got to wear a mask or they got to wear face paint, because that's what pro wrestlers wear. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm already bad at seeing, so I wasn't going to put a mask on my face. So face paint is where it was at.
How much did you learn from working with Abyss? Because in my limited experience working with him a couple times, just talking to Chris, mm-hmm. What a good dude, like just one of the sweetest people you ever meet, but obviously a badass in the ring, and he's got great psychology. He knows how to present himself as a monster. He's incredibly safe. What are the best things that you learned from working with Abyss?
Yeah, I could just repeat everything you said, because he's a beautiful human being. Just an awesome, awesome person. Some of the biggest things are like, it's just kind of how to carry yourself. Like for me, when I was at TNA and I was tagging with Abyss, that would be 2016. So I only got there in 2014, and I had a very good upbringing with Eric Young being my teacher. Abyss, he helped me like kind of navigate certain scenarios that I was not familiar with, having never been in these situations before. One of the biggest things, though, when it comes to an in-ring thing with Abyss, was the Monsters Ball matches. You knew if you're going to tag with Abyss or you're going to feud with them, there's a fair chance you're going to be in a Monsters Ball. Which was very new for me, but I could rely on him because he's done them so many times. The match is pretty much named after him at this point. And so his psychology and his placement for where things should go, because of the experience that he's had, he understands what kind of pop certain things are going to get. So he's able to structure them in a way that you essentially want a wrestling match to go, which is like up, couple dips here, but then your biggest pop comes at the end, like a roller coaster ride. Abyss was very, very good at constructing the Monsters Ball roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
So that's where I would say, that's where I picked up a lot of psychology and stuff like that as it pertains to those certain matches, because there's a lot of danger involved in them as well. So
you don't get to TNA if Eric Young doesn't give you the opportunity to start training as a wrestler. Mm-hmm. When you walk into a school or however it goes down and you're, hey, I'm a blind wrestler, train me to wrestle.
Yeah.
What does that conversation look like to where he goes, okay, I'll train you, blind guy?
Well, it almost didn't happen because of that. At the time, Jake O'Reilly, fellow professional wrestler, he also trained at Eric Young's school, and he was the one who brought me into the school, and he told Eric Young, he's like, hey, EY, I know you want some students. I have a buddy. I think he'd be really good. I'd like to bring him along. Oh, yeah, sure, bring him on. All right, no problem.
That's a great impression.
And then, well, there's just one thing, and he's blind.
No, don't bring him then. I can't teach a blind guy how to wrestle. Number one, I'm not going to take his money. Number two, I'm not going to be the guy who crushes his dreams. So do not bring him.
Well, no, he can kind of see. Like, I've done backyard wrestling with him.
Backyard is not the same. You know that. Don't bring him.
No, I'm telling you, he can kind of see. He's not fully blind. And it took some wearing down and
all right, bring him. Right.
So I came to a class, and I watched the whole class. Insert your blind joke there. I viewed the whole class, and then at the end of it, we had a talk. And I explained to him, like, listen, like, yes, I'm legally blind, but I can see things. Like, I can see shapes, I can see colors, no problem, and stuff like that, and I think I could do this. And so I'm the only person he ever did this for, but he didn't make me sign anything before I stepped into a ring. And he said,
here's what we're going to do. You get in the ring. I want you to stand at that side of the ring, and I want you to walk to the next side, and then we're going to pick up our pace. And if I think I can teach you to run the ropes, then I think I can teach you how to wrestle.
And so, sure enough, that was 23 years ago. So, yeah. That's essentially how it happened. I did like the Showtime Eric Young WrestlePlex eyesight test right there and then on the spot.
That's amazing.
That's kind of what capitalized there and kicked everything off. And to be fair, like I can only say this in this profession, in that I'm halfway talented at it. I picked it up pretty quickly, which I don't do for anything else in life. Wrestling's the only thing that I'm really good at.
Same.
But yeah, I picked it up fairly quickly, and I feel like a lot of that was because it's a hands-on thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so if I got you and we're in close quarters, then it's my eyesight isn't an issue. We're fine. It's if we're far away, or if we're in a smoky bar, or the ropes are black, or just like there's a lot of other variables. But if it's just me and you in the ring, and as soon as we lock up, I got you. We're good.
Yeah. Obviously, you're you. Sometimes we don't take the time to understand like the impact we make on other people. As I'm not even gonna say just a blind wrestler, but as a blind athlete, what's like the coolest moment you've had as far as like figuring out like, oh wow, I motivated this person to do this because they have a similar situation?
Oh, dude. So this is like the top of the top. There's no belt. There's no payday. There's nothing that's going to get higher than this. And it might break me here a little bit, so just bear with me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. A couple years ago, I was contacted through Instagram by a social worker. She explained to me that there was a young lady, her name was Sarah, who was suffering from ALS, and I was her Make-A-Wish.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I get this over Instagram, and I'm kind of like, they gotta have the wrong person. It's not me.
No.
Surely she wants Sting or something, right? Because I'm talking to this social worker, so I explained to her, I'm like, are you sure you have the right person? There's a lot of us wrestlers who wear face paint, and she doesn't know the WWE from TNA or anything like that, so I could just be any face painted wrestler. And so she went back to the family, and she came back with details of like, nope, she confirmed it was you. You are the one. I was like, okay, all right. So I got in contact with her father. The girl's name was Sarah. I got contact with her father, and like about a few weeks later, we had set it up so that I would go to meet her at her house, surprise her, and chill out with her for a day. And yeah, and so it was a lot easier than going through Make-A-Wish, which is why they tried to go that route first, the Instagram route. And so we made it out within a few weeks, and I got to her house, and I was. It's a really daunting situation to be in that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how I would be, and I can tell you right now, it was like one of the best times I've ever had. There was no tears, there was no sadness, just awesomeness, just love and awesomeness and great conversation. And Sarah knew everything about me, stuff that I had forgotten. She knew stuff about me up to the point where she was like, the only thing I can't find of yours, Steve, is lyrics to your new theme song, because I was just coming out with a new theme song at the time. And I said, you know what? It's really funny you mention that, because we don't have lyrics for it. In fact, we just have like the first draft of lyrics. Literally, I just got a recording of it this week. Would you like to hear it? She's like, yes, I would love to. So she got to hear like the almost like 90% finished product of the song. And it was super, super cool and super rewarding. And like, she had a blast again. And like, she like horror movies. She was very good at music. She was super awesome in school and stuff like that. I got to learn a lot about her. She didn't learn anything about me because she knew everything about me.
Yeah.
She knew stuff that I had forgotten. And yeah, it was just like an overwhelming experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think of like a guy like a John Cena who's made the most wishes out of everybody, and I'm like, one is it's hard but humbling. You know what I mean? It's hard, but it's something that I would gladly take any time it was, the opportunity had given Rosen to me. So yeah, I am. That's the benchmark. That's the big one where I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah.
Like, there's time for youth. Why am I doing this? Who cares? Who really cares? You know what I mean? And then you get a message like that.
As a reminder.
Oh, it's the reminder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I'm fortunate enough to have gotten several messages from people who, again, who are trying to get into pro wrestling, or just people who just want to get into sports, who have seen my story and just sent me a quick, hello, hey, I'm so-and-so, I also have this, and I seen your story and you really inspired me to do that. It's always hard for me to respond to those because again, it's overwhelming. It's a big piece of humble pie.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're out there doing it and you're killing it. Like just tonight, you and TJP, one of the best in the world. And like, you know, blind or not, to hang with him is something to be proud of, right?
Absolutely.
You've wrestled in Ontario for a long time. Talk to me about what makes Top Tier different than any other promotion you've ever wrestled for in Ontario.
Oh my goodness, the card is stacked. It is so stacked. We were on early today, which I'm glad, because when you are put like near the tippy top of that card, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
After a while, you just go into that locker room and look around. Like so far with Top Tier, I've gotten to wrestle Gringo Loco, PCO, and now TJP. Like those are all world traveled talents from vast different eras, right? And like I think one of the things that really puts Top Tier over the top for me, unintended, would be the idea that I get these type of matches. In a lot of cases, like the blind crazy guy doesn't necessarily wrestle one of the best professional wrestlers in the world in TJP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me to get the opportunity to do that is something that I jump at because he's so talented. But I also don't get it anywhere else. And the only way that we learn is by doing things that are not necessarily in our comfort zone. The only way that we grow is by doing those sorts of things. So the fact that Top Tier gives me these opportunities to learn and to grow and to wrestle opponents that I normally wouldn't be in the ring with makes them one of the top promotionals as far as my yearly calendar is concerned.
Yeah. Well, to me, you are one of the top athletes that I know personally. You are a crazy athlete, and for me, you're a crazy inspiration. I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people. So, Steve, thanks for this opportunity, and let's go make some merch money.
Let's do it.
Yeah.